Hello friends, welcome back, and if you're new to our channel, thank you for stopping by. Today I have a knitting pattern to share with you, which is a 12-row pattern, and stitches required are in the multiple of 4 plus 3. So I have taken 4 into 5 is 20 plus 3, that is 23 stitches. So let's start off with the first row of the pattern. The edge stitch is slipped off, or we do a knit. Please watch carefully. Now the repeat pattern starts. The needle goes behind the first stitch. We pull up a loop, yarn over, and we work the stitch. So out of one stitch we got 3 stitches. Now yarn forward, 3 number of purl, 1, 2 and 3. So this is the sequence that we are going to repeat for the first row of the pattern. Yarn backwards, we pull up a loop, from between the 2 stitches yarn over a knit. So we got 3 stitches. Yarn forward, 3 number of purl, 1, 2 and 3. Let's repeat again. The yarn goes back. Now between the 2 stitches we pass our needle, we pull up a loop, we do a yarn over and work a knit. So that's done. Yarn forward, 3 number of purl. So this is the sequence that we are going to repeat. Let's do again. Yarn backwards, from between the 2 stitches we pull up a loop, a yarn over and then work a knit. So we got 3 stitches. Now yarn forward, 3 number of purl, 1, 2 and 3. Yarn backwards. Now let's pull up a loop from between the 2 stitches, a yarn over and a knit. So that's done. Now again yarn forward, 3 number of purl, 1, 2 and 3. Yarn backwards. We have 2 stitches left. Finally I am going to work 3 stitches again. Out of 1 I pulled up a loop, a yarn over and a knit. So I got my 3 stitches and the edge stitch is going to be a knit. So the first row of the pattern has come to an end. Let's move on to the second row of the pattern. The edge stitch is slipped off. Now I'm going to keep my yarn forward and work the 3 stitches together. Yes, yarn backwards, 3 number of knit. So that is the sequence. Yarn forward, we work the 3 stitches together. Those are the stitches that were formed out of one stitch. Yarn backwards, 3 number of knit. So this is the sequence for the second row of the pattern. Again yarn forward. Let's repeat the pattern. Working the 3 stitches together, we purl, yarn backwards, 3 number of knit. Let's repeat the sequence again. Yarn forward, work the 3 stitches together. It's going to be a purl, 3 stitches we work together. Yarn backwards, 3 number of knit. Yarn forward, we work the 3 stitches together. You will be able to identify the 3 stitches because they are all close by. It's like it appears like a bundle. Now again the 3 stitches I'm going to purl together. After that I have 1 stitch left. It's going to be a purl. So the second row of the pattern has come to an end. Let's move on to the third row of the pattern. The edge stitch is slipped off. After that I'm going to slip the stitch. From here starts the repeat pattern. Yarn forward, 3 number of purl. So this is the sequence. Yarn backwards. Repeat pattern is yarn backwards, I slip the stitch, yarn forward, 3 number of purl. It is a very easy sequence to work. We slip the stitch. That is the stitch which has been formed by working 3 stitches together. Then yarn forward, 3 number of purl. So this is the third row of the pattern. Yarn backwards, slip the stitch, yarn forward, 3 number of purl. We must remember to do yarn backward when we slip the stitch. After that, the edge stitch is going to be a knit. So the third row of the pattern has come to an end. Now moving on to the fourth row of the pattern, the edge stitch is slipped off. After that, the slipped stitch is again slipped without working into the right needle, yarn backwards, 3 number of knit. So this is the sequence that we are going to repeat. Yarn forward, I am going to slip the slipped stitch, yarn backwards, 3 number of knit. Again yarn forward, I slip the stitch into the right needle, yarn backwards, 3 number of knit, 1, 2 and 3. So this is the fourth row of the pattern. Let's slip the stitch into the right needle without working, then yarn backwards, 3 number of knit, yarn forward, let's slip the stitch into the right needle, yarn backwards, 3 number of knit, yarn forward, let's slip the stitch. After that, the edge stitch is going to be a purl. So the fourth row of the pattern has come to an end. Moving on to the fifth row of the pattern, the edge stitch is slipped off. After that, I am just going to knit all across. This is the fifth row of the pattern, which is extremely easy. In this particular row, we are just going to knit all across, and as I told you, this is a 12 row pattern which needs stitches in the multiple of 4 plus 3. So for this sample, I have taken 4 5s are 20 plus 3, that is 23 stitches. So when you use this pattern for your project, you must take stitches according to the requirement of your project, keeping in mind the number of stitches that are required. Now moving on to the sixth row of the pattern, which is also extremely easy. The edge stitch is slipped off. After that, I am going to purl all across. This is the sixth row of the pattern, and for this particular sample, I have taken 23 stitches. So when you use this pattern, you too have to keep in mind that the stitches have to be in the multiple of 4 plus 3. So here the sixth row of the pattern is about to end. So the sixth row ends here. Let's move on to the seventh row of the pattern. The seventh row is just that here the position of the pattern is going to change. That is, the bumps are going to be formed in the middle. So let us start off. The edge stitch is slipped off. After that, I am going to work 2 number of purls so that I get the right position to work the bumps or the bubbles. Here I am now going to work the pattern. That is, the needle goes behind the 2 stitches. We pull up a loop, a yarn over and a knit. Yarn forward, 3 number of purl, 1, 2 and 3. Yarn backwards. Let's repeat the sequence. That is, the right needle goes between the 2 stitches. We pull up a loop, a yarn over and a knit. So the 3 stitches are got. Now yarn forward, 3 number of purl, 1, 2 and 3. Yarn backwards, and again yarn backwards. We draw a loop, a yarn over and a knit. Yarn forward, 3 number of purl. This is the sequence that is to be repeated in the 7th row of the pattern. Here again I am pulling up a loop, a yarn over and a knit. Once that is done, yarn forward, 3 number of purl. Yarn backwards. Again between the 2 stitches, I am going to pass my needle and pull up a loop, a yarn over, a knit. Yarn forward, 2 number of purl, 1, 2, yarn backwards is going to be a knit. The edge stitch is a knit. So the 7th row of the pattern has come to an end. Now moving on to the 8th row of the pattern, the edge stitch is slipped off. After that, I work 2 number of knit. That is to adjust the pattern. Now yarn forward. From here starts the repeat pattern. 3 stitches I am going to purl together at once. So out of 3 I am getting 1 stitch. Yarn backwards, 3 number of knit. So this is the sequence that is to be repeated. yarn forward. Let's repeat again. The 3 stitches I am going to purl together. Out of 3 stitch I am getting 1 stitch, yarn backwards, 3 number of knit. This is the 8th row of the pattern. Yarn forward, 3 stitches I purl together, yarn backwards, 3 number of knit. Yarn forward, 3 stitches I purl together, yarn backwards, 3 number of knit, 1, 2 and 3. Yarn forward, 3 stitches I am going to purl together, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit, that is to adjust the pattern. Yarn forward, the edge stitch is going to be a purl. So the 8th row of the pattern has come to an end. See how beautiful the pattern has already started looking. Let us move on to the 9th row of the pattern. The edge stitch is slipped off, yarn forward, 2 number of purl, that is to adjust the pattern. Yarn backwards. From here starts the repeat pattern. I slip 1 stitch, yarn forward, 3 number of purl. So this sequence is to be repeated, that is I slip 1 stitch, yarn forward, 3 number of purl. So let's repeat the sequence again. Yarn backwards, I slip the stitch without working, yarn forward, 3 number of purl. Yarn backwards, I slip the stitch into the right needle, yarn forward, 3 number of purl. Let's repeat again. Yarn backwards, I slip the stitch into the right needle, yarn forward. To adjust the pattern, it's going to be 2 number of purl, yarn backwards, a knit, that is the edge stitch. So the 9th row of the pattern has come to an end. Moving on to the 10th row of the pattern, the edge stitch is slipped off. After that I work 2 number of knit. From here starts the repeat pattern. I slip 1 stitch into the right needle, yarn backwards, 3 number of knit, yarn forward, I slip the stitch into the right needle, yarn backwards, 3 number of knit. So this is the sequence. Yarn forward, I slip the stitch into the right needle, yarn backwards, 3 number of knit, yarn forward. Let's repeat again. I slip 1 stitch into the right needle, yarn backwards, 3 number of knit. Yarn forward, I slip 1 stitch into the right needle, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit, that is to adjust the pattern. Yarn forward, the edge stitch is going to be a purl. So the 10th row of the pattern has come to an end. Now let us move on to the 11th row of the pattern. The edge stitch is slipped off. After that I am going to knit all across. This is the 11th row of the pattern, which is extremely easy. We just have to knit all across till the very last stitch of this particular row. So here the 11th row comes to an end. Now moving on to the 12th row of the pattern, the edge stitch is slipped off. After that I am going to purl all across. This is the 12th row of the pattern, which is very easy again. We just have to purl all across. So here the first set of pattern, which consists of 12 rows, is complete. See how beautiful the pattern looks, and it is so very easy to work. So here I have worked another set of pattern. This is how it looks. I hope you all liked it. Do use it for your future projects, as this pattern is very easy to work and grows really fast. So thank you friends for staying till the end. If you have liked the video, do give a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family members. If you are new to our channel, do consider subscribing and stay tuned for more of interesting videos. So till we meet again, it is bye bye for today.